Hello everyone, welcome to a session of Data Science and Artificial Intelligence in Africa. I am Tatenda Matika from Zimbabwe. So this was supposed to be my first episode, but my guest did not show up, so I'm just going to be interviewing myself. So asking myself some of the questions I would have asked the guests. So I'm a bit shy, I'm not used to the camera, but I'm sure I'll do great. So let's get right into it. The first question is, who are you and where are you from? So I have already answered that. I am Tatenda Matika from Zimbabwe. I grew up in Masvingo in Zimbabwe, and then I went to school firstly in Masvingo and then in Bulawayo, and then I also worked in Harare. So I've been in 3 different towns in Zimbabwe. Yes. So the second question is, how would you define data science? So I personally think that data science is poorly defined. So if you look it up online, you will see multiple definitions of data science. But for me, I think I would define it as a field of study where you apply different kinds of expertise from different domains, and then combine that with some programming skills and some mathematical statistical skills in order to analyze data and then find out, get insights from it, and also maybe be able to make predictions and forecasts or classifications. So that also trickles down into machine learning, but I think that's how I would define data science. Okay, and then the next question is, what did I study and how did I get into data science? So I studied computer science. So for my undergraduate degree, I studied computer science at NUST in Zimbabwe. And honestly, when I was doing my undergrad, I never thought I would end up into data science. I thought I would become a software developer. And then I never also wanted to even apply for a master's. So after that, after completing my studies, my mom kept pushing me to apply for a master's. So I applied and I got a scholarship at AIMS in Cape Town, South Africa. So I went to AIMS. That's when I did a master's in mathematical science. So through the master's, we took a course in data science. That's where we did mostly machine learning, and then we didn't do a lot of exploratory data analysis, but we were just doing, it was like basic pre-processing, and then you get into the machine learning models. And then after finishing my master's at AIMS, I took a program. There's a program that AIMS offers in partnership with a college in Germany, where they teach mathematical science graduates about how to apply their skills in industry. So I took that, and some of the courses that we did for that program were data analytics in business and decision making using data. So through that, I got to know how to do data analytics specifically for business organizations. So after that, I could do data analytics, I could do machine learning using data science. So those were the skills I gained through studying. And then after that, I worked as a business analytics consultant in Zimbabwe. And then now I'm working as a research scholar or research intern. And my work is in market analytics and price forecasting. So that's how I got into data science, and also the background of what I studied. Okay. And then any interesting projects I have worked on. So I worked on my first project. I worked on a project for audio classification. So I was given code that so the code was for audio classification using an artificial neural network, and then my task was to change that to audio classification using a convolutional neural network. So for me, it was really interesting because I had also done a course it's called signal processing, where you work with audio and you do some transformation on audio and stuff like that. So it was I was combining my knowledge of signal processing with my knowledge of machine learning. So I was supposed to convert the audio files into picture representations called spectrograms. So after doing that, then you use a convolutional neural network to do the audio classification. So that was my first project, and it was really interesting for me because I got to combine skills from 2 different courses that I had done. Okay, and then what tools do you use most frequently? So the tools that I use most frequently in terms of programming languages is R and Python. So for most of my studies, my schoolwork, and even for the first job that I got, anytime I was doing data science, machine learning related stuff, I preferred to use Python. And for schoolwork, we're supposed to use Python. And then for my work, I preferred to use Python because I was comfortable, because I had a lot of experience with that. But for the work that I'm doing now, I am using R because some of the people I'm working with, they are more comfortable with R. And I have gotten to learn more about how to use R for data analysis because I had only used it for statistical analysis. So now I'm using R and I am comfortable with both programming languages. And I have also used other tools for data analysis, such as Microsoft Power BI. I used Excel a lot for my first job, and I also used what is it called? IBM SPSS. Yes, so I've used those tools, but mostly it's either R or Python. Yes. So let me get to the next question. Okay, what does a day at work look like for you, and what activities do you normally do? So the first thing that I do when I get to work is so we start work at 7:30. So I do not wake up that early. So when I wake up, I shower, and I get to work. I don't take breakfast at home. So the first thing that I do when I get to work is I take my coffee, and then after that I get into my work. So it depends. On some days you can have meetings with your supervisor or other people you're working with, and then after that, so like it helps you to plan on the activities that you'll be doing for the rest of the week or for the next period until you meet the people you're working with again. So maybe the thing that I usually do most is if I get data, then I do the analysis. So I usually like to start with Excel. So I open the data in Excel, and then I just look at it, get a rough idea of what's in there, and then I get to programming. So I get to programming maybe with Python, R. So that's where I do the analysis now. And then after analysis, then I do the forecasting. So currently I'm working on a project that is going on over a long period of time. So on some days I'll be reading and researching, doing the literature review and background. And then on other days I am working on implementation of the forecasting models through a web application. And then on some days I am doing just the analysis. So it depends on what I'm supposed to do for that week, but mostly I'll just be sitting on my desk looking at a computer. So that's mostly my work, sitting on a desk looking at a computer and doing like different kinds of tasks. Okay, and then the last question: any advice for people interested in data science? Okay, so what I would say is, if you haven't started and you know someone who is in data science, whether you know them personally or you've seen them maybe on social media or on LinkedIn, you can start by sending them a message or approaching them and just tell them you're interested and you'd like some guidance on how to get into it. Usually it's easier to get guidance from someone who is in the field than trying to Google stuff for yourself. I mean, you will always Google stuff, but it's better to just find like guidance from someone. And then if you have already started and now you want to be better or to be maybe established, you want people to know that you're a data scientist, I would advise that you take on some personal projects. You can start with tutorials. I follow tutorials on YouTube, and then sometimes I write, I do write-ups on my website, and then I also maybe put some of the code on GitHub. Sometimes I post on LinkedIn. So you can't just follow a tutorial step by step. I mean, that's usually the first thing that you do when you're doing a tutorial. But after that, try to change things up and improve that tutorial or apply it to a different problem, and then share what you have done. So the more projects that you work on, the more your skills improve. And also if you are sharing on social media, people start noticing you, and you'd be surprised some of the things that happen. Like you get to meet some amazing people, and some people will approach you just to have a conversation with you, which feels good. For me, I don't know for other people, but for me it helps me to be more confident with the work that I am doing. So that's it from me, guys. Hopefully next time my guest will show up, and then we will record a proper video. Thank you.